Hello, my lovelies. It is time for my January Wheel of TBR, so stay tuned. If you're new here, hi, hello, welcome. If you're not new here, welcome back. Wheel of TBR is one of my multiple TBR games that I play in order to help pick my TBR for the upcoming month. The way this one works is I will spin the wheel 5 times, or typically I spin the wheel 5 times, and whatever I land on, I find a book that fits that prompt, and I also put a mark on the board. If I get 5 marks in one spot, then I have to do a bonus spin. I don't mark on the bonus spins. I always start out my month with telling you how I did in the previous month, and if I need to take any punishment spins, or if I earned taking a spin away, things like that. So let's start with taking a spin away. So I did Better Book It this month. I'll link that video up here. And I won, yay. So I actually get to take a spin off the wheel. So I only have to do 4 this month. So that's a good start. So now let's look into if I have any punishment spins. Normally I would have my stack of books here to tell you what I've read, what I haven't read. But I'm filming this pretty late in the evening and people are sleeping and the books are kind of scattered everywhere. So I figured it'd just be easier to tell you. So in my December Wheel of TBR, I had 4 books that were going to be rolled over. We had Candy for Christmas by Joanne Funk, and I am currently reading that one. So I have started it. Next was A Novel Love Story. I forget the author's name, but I'm also currently listening to the audiobook of that. I'm physically reading Candy for Christmas and listening to A Novel Love Story. Then there was The Smell of Other People's Houses. I did read that. And Furyborn by Claire Legrand, and I did read that. So I ended up having to do 6 base spins and 1 bonus spin last month. So I had to do a total of 7 spins. So here's how I did on those. So for new author, I was to read Pupcakes, and I have not started that yet, but it is currently December 23rd when I'm filming this. And I am actually going to be reading that this week because the author chat with the author for that is this weekend. So I've definitely got to do that. I'll say technically it's a rollover, but it's going to get finished. Next was Out of Comfort Zone. For that I was to read Lone Wolf in Lights by, I think, Ryan Kennedy. And I have not read that, and I am going to take a punishment spin for that. I actually realized that that is the second book in a series, so I do need to read the first book before I can read that, and I haven't read the first book either. For a book that involves a game, I was going to reread Spin the Dawn by Elizabeth Lim. I have not read that, and I'm not rolling it over, so I will take a punishment spin for that one. For Hoopla Wreck, I was to read Clown in a Cornfield or Clowns in a Cornfield. I have not read that. I'm not going to roll it over, so I am going to take a punishment spin for that. I actually read a huge amount of books this month, but surprisingly not as many from my wheel. Okay, so that's 3 punishment spins so far. Next, I spun comedy, and for that I picked A Nightmare Before Christmas, and I did read that. For my Cards Against My TBR answer, I selected The Santa Company by Berlinda Wall, and I did read that. For author that I love, I selected The Brightest Night by Jennifer L. Armentrout, and I have not read that. But I am planning on rolling that one over, so I'm not going to take a punishment spin for that one. So that's 3 punishment spins that I'm going to have to take. So the way the punishment spins work is I'm not actually adding a book necessarily. I'm just spinning the wheel and putting marks in those spots. If in this case we do get a bonus spin from this, that will count as one of the base spins. So I'll be back up to 5 or 6 or however many. Okay, so first punishment spin. Okay, there's no marks on this one yet, so that's cool. We do have a couple of danger zones here. Coffee, water, and anthology. So if it lands on any of those, I'll have to add a spin. All right, second punishment spin. Ooh, ooh. Most anticipated. No marks on that one. All right, third punishment spin. Oh, of course. All right, so the base is going, it went from 5 to 4, now it's back to 5. Okay, so I have a few books that I need to try to fit on here if possible. So my buddy read with my coffee patrons is going to be Sorcery of Thorns. And then my read of the month that my book buddy of the month chose for me to read is The One by John Mars. So I need to try and squeeze those in. Also, for my Have I Read It, I need to try to squeeze those in. So Have I Read It, number 84. I had to pick the top 2 voted books. And the winners were The Rose and the Dagger and Ruthless. And then for Have I Read It, number 85, I was also supposed to pick the top 2 voted books. And for that, we have Is It Day or Night and The Seeker. So I already have 6 books I need to try to fit. Fingers crossed. Also, as far as grabbing books, I'm probably only going to be able to limit myself to grabbing the books that are already in this room. Or I could just put an image on the screen. Because like I said, people are sleeping and I can't go into all the rooms. Alright, so let's get started with spin number 1. Wild card. Pick a book I don't know much about. Okay, I don't know. Oh, there it is. Hold on. Okay, so for this one, I'm going to go with The Seeker by Isabel Carmody. This is one of my Have I Read It books. And honestly, it's been like over a month since I filmed that. And I can't remember what this is about. So this is going to be my selection for that one. Okay, so The Seeker is actually 2 books. The first 2 books in a series. We have Ober Newton and The Far Seekers. And so I'll read you just about Ober Newton. It says, in a world struggling back from the brink of apocalypse, life is harsh, and for Elspeth Gordy, it's also dangerous. Elspeth has a secret. She is a misfit, born with mental powers that would mean her death if discovered. When she's exiled to the mountain compound known as Ober Newton, she discovers that someone within its walls seeks the most dangerous secret of all, one that may revive the very forces that nearly destroyed the world. Okay, so we're going to mark this. And we'll take that off. Where's my bag of prompts? Okay, we're going to replace that with Book with a Monster. Also, I'm going to take this one off as well because that game has been retired. And we'll replace it with, oh, got a couple stuck together. Bookish book. All right, spin number 2. Fantasy. Ooh, Sorcery of Thorns. That is definitely a fantasy, so that is what I'm going to select for this one. Okay, so for Sorcery of Thorns, I pulled it up on Goodreads because it's not in here. It says, all sorcerers are evil. Elizabeth has known that as long as she's known anything. Raised as a foundling in one of Ostamir's great libraries, Elizabeth has grown up among the tools of sorcery, magical grimoires that whisper on shelves and rattle beneath iron chains. If provoked, they transform into grotesque monsters of ink and leather. She hopes to become a warden charged with protecting the kingdom from their power. Then an act of sabotage releases the library's most dangerous grimoire. Elizabeth's desperate intervention implicates her in the crime, and she is torn from her home to face justice in the capital. With no one to turn to but her sworn enemy, the sorcerer Nathaniel Thorne, and his mysterious demonic servant, she finds herself entangled in a centuries-old conspiracy. Not only could the great libraries go up in flames, but the world along with them. As her alliance with Nathaniel grows stronger, Elizabeth starts to question everything she's been taught. About sorcerers, about the libraries she loves, even about herself. For Elizabeth has a power she has never guessed, and a future she could never have imagined. So, yay. There was no marks on that, so put in the first one. And we will take that off. I'm so glad so far I've been able to make those books I needed to get on fit. Okay, we have Animal on the cover. Alright, spin number 3. Sprayed edges. Ooh. I have to go look. I can't remember if this book I'm thinking of has sprayed edges or not. So give me just a minute. Okay, I was hoping that my copy of The Wrath and the Dawn or The Rose and the Dagger had sprayed edges, but they don't. So I decided to go with a book that was part of the thing I was going to be reading for my coffee patrons, and it was one of the few that didn't get read, and that is Book of Night by Holly Black. It has these black sprayed edges, so that's what I'm going to select for this one. So for Book of Night, this says, Charlie Hall has never found a lock she couldn't pick, a book she couldn't steal, or a bad decision she wouldn't make. She spent half her life working for glomists, magicians who manipulate shadows to peer into locked rooms, strangle people in their beds, or worse. These glomists guard their secrets greedily, creating an underground economy of grimoires. And to rob their fellow magicians, they need Charlie Hall. Now she's trying to distance herself from past mistakes, but bartending at a local dive, she's still entirely too close to the corrupt underbelly of the Berkshires. Not to mention that her sister Posy is desperate for magic, and that Charlie's shadowless and possibly soulless boyfriend, Vince, has been hiding things from her. When a terrible figure from her past returns, Charlie descends into a maelstrom of murder and lies. Determined to survive, she's up against a cast of doppelgangers, mercurial billionaires, glomists, and the people she loves best in the world, all trying to steal a secret that will give them a vast and terrible power. Okay, let's mark this, which gives it 3 marks on that one. And we will replace sprayed edges with adult. All right, spin number 4. Book with a monster. Okay, sorry if the angle changed. As I was trying to figure out books, I realized my battery is about to die and my SD card was about full. So I went ahead and swapped those out. So I think for this, I'm not going to think in the sense of like a vampire or a werewolf or something like that, but a different kind of monster, like the human kind. And I'm going to go with Ruthless by Carolyn Lee Adams. This says, a spine-tingling debut about the ultimate game of cat and mouse in reverse, as a teen struggles to retain hope and her sanity while on the run from a cunning and determined killer. Ruth Carver has always competed like her life depends on it. Ambitious, tough, maybe even mean. It's no wonder people call her ruthless. When she wakes up with a concussion in the bed of a moving pickup truck, she realizes she's been entered into a contest she can't afford to lose. At a remote rotting cabin deep in the Blue Ridge Mountains, Ruth's blindfold comes off and she comes face to face with her captor, a man who believes his mission is to punish bad girls like Ruth, a man who has done this 6 times before. The other girls were never heard from again, but Ruth won't go down easy. She escapes into the wilderness, but her hunter is close at her heels. That's when the real battle begins. That's when Ruth must decide how far she'll go in order to survive. Back home, they call her Ruthless. They had no idea just how right they were. Okay, so let's mark that, which puts this as a danger zone now because it's got 4. And we will replace that with middle grade. All right, so this is our 5th and final spin unless we get a bonus spin with this. All right, here we go. Goodreads. Okay, so for this one, I go with something Goodreads recommends. Maybe what I should do is like just scroll through Goodreads and see what the first book is that I own that I have not read. Actually, that happens pretty quickly. Okay, so the first one that showed up is Secret Santa, which is actually one I've unhauled. But the next one is Lies She Told, and that's one I do own. That's by Kate Holohan. Let me see if it's in here. Okay, I don't see that in here, so it is. Oh yeah, this should actually be in the guest room, and my in-laws are sleeping there right now. Okay, this says, sometimes the truth is darker than fiction. Liza Jones has 30 days to write the thriller that could put her back on the bestseller list. In the meantime, she's struggling to start a family with her husband, who is distracted by the disappearance of his best friend Nick. With stresses weighing down in both her professional and her personal life, Liza escapes into writing her latest heroine. Beth is a new mother who suspects her husband is cheating on her while she's home alone, providing for their newborn. Angry and betrayed, Beth sets out to catch him in the act and make him pay for shattering the illusion of their perfect life. But before she realizes it, she's tossing the body of her husband's mistress into the river. Then the lines between fiction and reality begin to blur. Nick's body is dragged from the Hixson, and Liza's husband is arrested for his murder. Before her deadline is up, Liza will have to face the truths about the people around her, including herself. If she doesn't, the end of her heroine story could be the end of her own. Okay, so that put 3 on this one. And we will replace Goodreads with A through Z. So we'll do a random letter generator and pick a book by that, like by an author with that name. And that's it. We didn't end up with any bonus spins or anything like that. So I'm really excited about this. I have a lot of thrillers, and I think it's gonna be a lot. It's gonna be a fun month. So in addition to that, for TBR Knockout, the theme was dark. So you could either choose to do either prompt or try to find a book that combined the two. I'm actually picking a book that combines the two. So the 2 prompts were a dark word in the title, and the other prompt was a dark theme. And I will be reading Is It Night or Day for this one. I forget who the author is, but this is based on a true story. And it's about kids that are being shipped over, I think, to the U.S. during World War II, like Jewish children being sent over. So, yeah. Oh, and for Buzzword, this is perfect. Okay, so the Buzzword part, not the cover part, is lies or truth and lies. And so that last book, Lies She Told, is the perfect book for that. As far as the cover one, there was a thing about patterns, something like a repeating pattern. I think this could actually work because the pattern of the lines, I think that would work. So I could read Book of Night for that one. Yay! That's it. What book are you most looking forward to reading in January? Comment down below and let me know. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give me a big thumbs up. If you'd like to see more videos like this, click that subscribe button down below. And until next time, remember to always be completely you. Bye!